January 15th, 1947, Los Angeles. This was not a common crime scene. It was a surgical display. The victim was bisected with such extreme precision that investigators realized they weren't looking for a street thug, but a master of the human anatomy. A killer with a medical degree and a mystery that even the FBI couldn't solve using science. This is the forensic file of the Black Dahlia. Before she became a symbol of a forensic enigma, she was Elizabeth Short, a young woman with deep blue eyes and a dream that mirrored thousands of others in the post-war era, the silver screen of Hollywood. But Elizabeth was more than a headline. Her life was a series of complex social layers, moving through a city that was rapidly expanding but deeply fractured. To understand the conclusion of her story, we must first analyze the environment she navigated, a world of dimly lit jazz clubs, transient hotels, and a social circle that remained as elusive as a shadow. Medical records from her youth reveal a history of respiratory issues, requiring surgeries that made her familiar with the clinical world long before the tragedy. Those who knew her described a person of quiet elegance, often seen wearing a signature black dahlia in her hair, a detail that would later be immortalized by the press. But beneath the Hollywood glamour lay a fragile reality. She was a woman caught in the gears of a city that often consumed its dreamers, unaware that her final chapter would become the most analyzed medical file in FBI history. Los Angeles in 1947 was a landscape of contradictions. The LAPD was struggling with internal shifts, and the forensic tools of the time were primitive compared to modern standards. In this atmosphere, Elizabeth's movements during her final days, the missing week, created a void in the timeline. Forensic experts emphasized that the environment where she was found was not the location of the incident itself. It was a secondary site, meticulously staged. This indicates a high level of planning and a cold, calculated methodology. The investigation reveals a pattern of systematic isolation. Elizabeth was moving between social hubs, yet no one could definitively place her whereabouts in the 150 hours leading up to the discovery. This dark window is where the technical preparation took place. The sophistication of the act required a controlled environment, a private space equipped with the tools of a specialized trade. The city wasn't just a backdrop, it was a labyrinth that allowed a highly skilled individual to operate in total silence. Now, we address the technical core that has kept this case open in the minds of profilers. The procedure performed on Elizabeth Short was not an act of chaotic impulse. It was a hemicorporectomy. In medical terms, this involves the total bisection of the body. What baffled the original medical examiners was the lack of cellular trauma surrounding the incision points. The cut was made with a steady hand, navigating the intervertebral discs with the accuracy of a trained surgeon. The lack of significant fluid at the secondary site suggested a professional-grade drainage process, a technique typically reserved for morticians or advanced surgical theaters. Furthermore, the Roseman cut, a specific triangular incision used in certain medical training of the 1940s, was present. This wasn't just a fatal error by an assailant, it was a signature. Analysis of the bone structure indicated the use of a fine-toothed surgical saw, not a common household tool. The perpetrator didn't just understand anatomy, they respected the mechanical limits of the human frame. The aftermath triggered one of the largest forensic hunts in history. The FBI's involvement brought a new level of scrutiny to the technical evidence. Over 25 suspects were identified who possessed the specific medical background required for performing such a complex procedure.
among them names that frequented the elite circles of Los Angeles. The evidence was paradoxical, letters sent to the press with a taunting precision, using cut-out newspaper letters, yet leaving behind almost zero usable biological trace at the primary scene. The forensic reports focused on the washing of the evidence. The perpetrator had cleaned the subject with a chemical solution, possibly a disinfectant used in hospitals of that era. This deliberate attempt to erase forensic signatures suggests a person familiar with the emerging science of fingerprinting and blood typing. Despite thousands of interviews and the deployment of the best investigative minds of the 40s, the gap between medical knowledge and physical proof remained unbridgeable. The file stayed open, a cold monument to a disciplined shadow. Elizabeth Short's story transitioned from a tragic loss to a cornerstone of forensic study. Her case taught the world about the importance of secondary crime scenes and the psychological profiling of organized offenders. She remains a symbol of the dark side of the American dream, her memory preserved not in film, but in the meticulous notes of investigators who refused to let the case rest. The precision that baffled the FBI remains a testament to the fact that sometimes the most dangerous individuals are those who have mastered the art of saving lives, only to use that knowledge for the unthinkable. If you want to dive deeper into the technical files of history's most complex cold cases, subscribe to Dossier Cold Cases. The truth is often hidden in the details we are afraid to look at. What do you believe the Roseman cut reveals about the perpetrator? Leave your forensic theory in the comments.